Today's episode of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown is brought to you by Jeanette McKenzie, Realtor at Forest Hill Signature, and Jewelry Forever at jewelryforever.ca. Enjoy the show.
Broadcasting live from Glenmore Record Studios in Toronto, this is The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown, your Sunday morning talk show with interesting guests, live musical performances, and the most fun you can fit in your coffee cup. Hosted by Scott Dion Brown and Regine Alaina, this is The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown.
Oh, what a beautiful... Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 185. Can everybody see us? Can everybody hear us? Are we a frozen photo?
No, we're good.
For the whole show?
Good.
I think we're moving, right? We're pretty good. Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 185 of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown. I am your host, the one, the only, Scott Dion Brown, and I'm joined by the greatest co-host in all of the galaxy, people, the one, the only,
Regine Alaina. Happy Sunday. Happy Father's Day to everyone who is either a father, a stepfather, a father figure, a soon-to-be dad. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. All the fathers. To my own father, Happy Father's Day. I said hello to you and Happy Father's Day earlier today. We gave him a gift. We gave him his gift.
It was a fun card.
Yeah. Well, the card, we also gave him a gift.
Oh,
as well.
I just saw the card.
Well, yeah, no, I gave him a card that's got like, it's like these.
It's like a pop-up card on steroids.
Yeah, it's a pop-up card, but there's like a speaker inside. It was like a little tool shed, and you open it, and then there's all these tools standing up, and they dance. And it plays music. It is the most advanced card I'd ever seen, and I had to buy it.
And you know what is also advanced? Our guest.
Our guest.
Yes.
Shall we? You know what, Regine? I will let you introduce our guest today.
I don't have a bio.
I know, but just like, just say like, you know.
All right. So our guest, I have known her. I met her during the pandemic, actually, where I was interviewed on her podcast, PageantryNOW. Not only is she an inspiration to all of us and reminds us to keep our hearts healthy, but she is none other than Ms. Achievement World 2021, Stayc Simpson. Hi, Stacey.
Hello.
Hey, how are you? This is so cool. I'm so glad to be here. I hope we're gonna have fun.
Well, we're so glad that you're here with us. It's been a minute since you and I chatted.
Yeah, it's been, I think the last time that you and I had, a chat was during pageant, like the last time we talked. And then before that, I was lucky enough to be a guest as well on the pageant sit down. So we've been going back and forth, and then we will have you as a guest before you go to the galaxy at PageantryNOW.
I'm excited. Do you see how we're doing this? We're like trading back and forth. Like you go on, I go on. You go on, I go.
Well, it's been a while. Like we have been through this now. It's been almost 2 years since you were originally crowned. So the process has been real.
Yes, it's been a ride. It's been a ride.
Well, welcome to the show. And I guess, why don't you, let's start by introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself for our audience.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I am Stayc Simpson. I'm the reigning Ms. Achievement World. I give up my title in 4 weeks, so I'm kind of sad about that. I am a 3-time cancer survivor that also was diagnosed with heart disease. And then to add a little couple of things to it, I was hit by a truck riding my bicycle 11 years ago. So I was training for a tri. So things in my medical life are a little bit crazy. They gave me 8 weeks to live a couple of times in the last 25 years. But I compete in pageants as a way to be able to share my story, hopefully inspire people. And then I'm also the host of PageantryNOW, which started in 2016 as a live show to be able to have title holders be able to share what they do between the moment that they crown and the moment that they give up their crown, because there's 364 days between that where you never really hear about what happens. So that's my thing. And then I also owned a gymnastics company, which has nothing to do with any of the other stuff I do. But I love it. I've been an educator for years. So this is my world. So thanks for letting me be here.
Well, thanks for letting us into your world.
Yes,
Thank
you for
you.
being here. I guess I mean the first thing I did want to ask about, just because when you sent me the bio, and it reads that you had heart failure, and you were the first person to get stem cells? Is that what it was?
Yeah, in the United States, stem cell research is, I mean, I know internationally it's gone much farther, but here in the United States, I was the first female to ever receive cardiac stem cells to repair the damage to my heart. And the reason that that's so important is because in most research programs worldwide, women are not included in the statistics for what research is about. So for me to be one of those women that was actually groundbreaking, to be able to receive those stem cells was very, very huge. And then because of that, that really pushed me to working with the American Heart Association as a partner with them, and being able to get representation for women with Go Red. Go Red, the Go Red campaign is all about representing women, and heart disease is the #1 killer of people in the world. And most people don't know that. So this has been very, very important for me. And my heart function was at 10% when I got the stem cells, and now it's at 47%, which is considered a miracle. So,
wow, that's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that they didn't include women in the statistics.
If you look at anything, women are not really part of statistics or health research, as Stacey mentioned.
But
It's kind of crazy. I mean, you don't think about, because especially when you think about most people consider heart disease to be a man's disease. And so Go Red was started 20 years ago as a way to be able to bring awareness to women and find representation for just understanding because the signs for heart disease are different in women, the signs of a heart attack, the signs of a stroke. So all of that information has been being developed so that hopefully we can save lives. I mean, internationally, we want women to be represented. I mean, not that we don't want men. I mean, we want to get rid of heart disease at the end of the day. So
For anyone, yeah.
well, it sounds like the men are already represented in that statistic. I just, it's such a strange. It's just weird when you hear things like that, because women are 50% of the population, so it's just weird. Just a weird thing to hear.
Historically, I mean, not to be sexist, but historically, men were researchers. Like, it wasn't until probably the last 40, 50 years that you started to see women be more actively involved in research programs. So because of that, you think about, you represent the group that you represent. So that's really where one of the biggest challenges comes from. So.
Jeez. Well, we're moving forward then. We're moving forward. But I mean, what was that experience like when you tell me how, because it feels like almost something out of a movie where they're like, there's this one thing that we can try that, you know what I mean? Like, it really feels like I don't know. I can't even imagine what that must have been like to go through. But
that's actually happened to me twice. So when I was originally diagnosed with my cancer was stage 4. I had 2 huge tumors. One was attached to my heart and one was wrapped around my neck. And the doctor said, listen, I had weeks. And the doctor said, hey, we've got this new protocol that we would like to try. We don't know if it's going to make a difference, but we would like to try it. Are you willing to do that? Mm-hmm. And I said, sure, why not? I mean, what have I got to lose? And I mean, I'm blessed that I took that chance, because it really changed how treatment for lymphoma, because the one tumor was it was literally across, you could see it in an x-ray. And then the other one went from the tip of my shoulder and wrapped around my neck. So all you saw was black across my chest in an x-ray, which doesn't ever happen. Like, usually it just doesn't happen. So after 4 months of this treatment, you couldn't see the cancer at all. So it really was groundbreaking at that moment. And I mean, I don't think I really appreciated it. I was just like, oh, okay, let's go. I also have autism. So I think that kind of helped me because it allowed me to not be in emotions that most people would normally be in. Thinking about, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I was just like, nope, let's get to the answer and get to that right away. And then with the heart condition, which was actually caused by that protocol, which it saved my life. So, and it saved millions of other people's lives. So it is a great treatment, but the radiation actually caused the damage to my heart. And the doctors were like, well, you can get a heart transplant because there's way too much damage to your heart. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And a young doctor said, hey, we have this program here at the university that I think you'd be a perfect candidate for. And so I went, okay, let's try it. I mean, again, to me, my life now has been given a gift. So I'm going to give as much as I can to science and be able to hopefully help other people's lives be better. And, you know, it may be a risk to me, but I have been given, you know, an extra 25 years I didn't have. So why not help other people with it? So.
And you're
wow, this is deep. Oh my gosh.
It is. But you've definitely
I don't
given.
Want to be deep. Let's have fun.
No, don't worry. You've definitely not only given other people, but also the pageant community more information and a sense of what it is that you're going through, and making sure, you know, we're all wearing a sea of red for you, and supporting everything that you're doing, just like you support everything we're doing. I think every fundraiser that I've hosted during the pandemic, Stacey's like, here's my PayPal send. I'm like, what?
Well, it's just
because like even internationally, I was like, well, I don't know how much I can send. But I try to help, because at the end of the day, you know, we're here for a short amount of time. So why don't we make sure that we support and help? And, you know, I'm not rich, but I'll help when I can. So.
Well, it's just an amazing story. Like when I saw the bio, I don't know. Obviously I didn't know you at all beforehand when Regine booked you to be on. So I read the bio, and like, it was obviously something just I'd never read before. I was like, wow, that's gotta be, what a story. And it's just amazing. It's amazing. But yes, we did get quite deep, but I like it.
I mean, it's cool. And I gotta say, you know, pageantry and STEM is important too, because we want to be able to have representation. So at the end of the day, like, I get it. Like, and it is really cool. Like, especially for someone that may not have ever heard of that. I mean, the reason I do these is because, you know, maybe someone will hear about it. And again, in another country, in most countries, they're much farther along with stem cell research. So it may be approved, whereas ours right now is on hold because of funding, because pandemic money got given to you know, research for COVID. So, you know, it won't be until 2025 until we have access to that money again. I'm like, come on, seriously. Maybe.
Well, let's just say I've now had, this is what, our third interview, Stacey, and I'm still learning so much about you.
I'm an enigma. It's kind of weird.
It makes you unique.
So when you I think you said in the beginning, so was your experiences going through that, were you transitioned to pageantry after that, or were you already into pageantry before that?
That is another dark story. So I was actually entered into pageantry, into my first pageant at 16. My mom, I mean, I'd followed pageants. I thought it was really cool. I thought I wanted to be a model. I had a domestic situation with my father where he actually attacked me, and I had to have reconstructive surgery to put my face back together. And because of that, my mom put me in a pageant 3 months after the surgery to raise my self-esteem. So that was how I got into pageants. And honestly, maybe it wasn't the right time at that particular moment for me to be able to compete in a pageant. Although I did place first runner-up, but I mean, I knew nothing about it other than watching it on TV. But it really opened up a lot of opportunities for me to be better rounded, especially with my autism. I wasn't really great at being able to talk to people. I wasn't great at eye contact. I really didn't understand my visual cues, like for body language. So it really helped to mold me into a better person. And I'm grateful for those opportunities. And I competed for 20 years and never won a title, but I kept competing because I loved it. And then, 36 was my first national title. So a couple of days later, and now I'm 56. So I have 40 years I've been doing this. And I mean, it's been a blessing. I've enjoyed every moment of it, and I've won some really amazing titles and gotten to meet some fabulous people, and hopefully, hopefully inspire other people, because I think that pageantry is not what everybody thinks it is. So, yeah.
Amazing. And then when did Pageantry Now start? Like, so obviously it's one thing to compete in pageants and something else to have a show and actually, interview people, and that's an entirely different, really, skill set, really. So how did that begin?
And again, from the standpoint of, you want me to go do this? What? Hold on. Okay. So I was working with another organization, and Miss Universe 2014 was in Miami. I'm in Miami, Florida. And so I laughingly said, oh, okay, send your team and we'll cover Miss Universe. And the team came. And so then I was at Miss Universe. And I'm going, okay, sure. Whatever, I'm here. And I became a show producer because there was talent there, and I was running the camera, and I was the first person ever to actually use a cell phone to actually do interviews and videos on my cell. And wow. Because at that point, honestly, your cell phone has better capabilities video wise than most handheld cameras. So I went and I bought a microphone that connected to my phone, and we did 60 interviews, which was crazy, of all of the delegates. Fast forward to the next year was in Las Vegas, and the crew had come, but they left the morning of the actual pageant because we were there for other activities. And I walked in and I said to the person that was in charge of PR, I said, listen, when I was going through my chemotherapy, Seal, who was performing that night, Seal, his second album is what I listened to. All I want to do is just say thank you to him. I just want to tell him I really appreciated how he got me through a really difficult time. And she grabbed me and she put me on the red carpet. And I was like, wait, what? Hold on a second. How am I here? Like, what's going on?
This is not what I was asking. This is not what I was asking for.
Yeah, and I'm like, she's like, just stay there. You'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just ask questions. And I'm like, ask questions of who? Like, hold on a second. And the next thing I know, I'm interviewing, Miss Universe and Miss USA, and like, all the celebrities are at the red carpet, the pre-show. Steve Harvey's manager, and Steve Harvey, like, it was crazy. And then I'm interviewing Perez Hilton, and then there was somebody that was doing live video feed at that point that was on the red carpet that grabbed me, and he goes, here, interview Perez with me interviewing you, and then let me interview you. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
And that really was where Pageantry Now started. Like, the thought that we could be doing live interviews live now was a wonderful concept. And the format they were using was a streaming service called Now. So that's where the name Pageantry Now came from. I ended up being the last person that Steve Harvey interviewed before he went out on stage and crowned the wrong person.
Oh, the infamous area.
That was
so.
Well,
yeah.
Everybody knew about that. That was.
Yep, everybody. I mean, I can always say, I'm like, because like the question I asked him was, I had maybe a minute with him, and I was like, hey Steve, how are you going to use comedy as this is the first time you're hosting, this is a big change, and he looked at me and he's like, oh, we're just going to be fun and have a good time because only one woman's going to get crowned tonight, so we're going to make the best pageant out of it, otherwise there's going to be 89 really unhappy ladies out there, so we're just going to go do it.
And little does he know, he pissed off a whole country.
Well, that was the best. Well, I don't want to say the best part about it. After the pageant, the pageant, there was an issue in Vegas. So Vegas got shut down, and most people about that. So half of the hotel had the Colombians that were very angry, and the other half were the Filipinos that were very angry. And Steve, like, it was chaos. I called my husband. I had never been to Vegas. I was like, I am never doing this again. This is crazy. Because it was legit. Like, people were like, I mean, and I understand, you know, the Philippines have really strong feelings about pageantry. And I was just like, I'm just going to say, and I went, can I interview okay, Pia.
I just wanted to see people win. I didn't want to be a part of this mess.
Did you get to speak to Seal?
I did not. He ended up never making the red carpet. So, but one thing that was really amazing, the Miss Universe staff gave me tickets to the show. You don't get tickets if you're media. So they walked over to me, handed me tickets and said, hurry up, you've got 10 minutes to get in. And I was like crying the whole time because I was like, I am going to Miss Universe. Like I am, because they're $1,000 seats, like multiple $1,000 seats. They're not cheap. And I was right there to watch everything go.
You saw it live with your own eyes. Oh my God.
You know, and legit, he made a mistake, and I absolutely understand how he made the mistake. It was, you know, it was the way the cue cards were set up. And I felt really bad for him because even as he called it, he started walking off stage, and I was like second or third row, like right off stage. And I could see him with his personal assistant going, I did something wrong. I did something wrong. I did something wrong. So, you know, by the time I got back to the press room, I didn't wait to see what happened. I just heard him saying that. So by the time I got to the press room, they were saying Pia, P-I-A, Wurtzbach. And I'm like, wait, why are you putting the press release the first runner-up? And they went, oh, you missed that part?
You missed the iconic.
Little thing happened in the last few minutes.
Something happened between where, you know, you left the theater and you made it to the press room. But I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, for Scott and I, because we both MC pageants together, one of the things we make sure, because of Steve Harvey, is we're reading it correctly.
Yeah. But I imagine they probably, I bet they changed the layout of the cards after that.
I hope so.
Because one thing that is tough, and again, in his defense, like, when you're on stage and you're, in fact, you would know, like, anytime you're even doing a show like this type of thing, right? It's like, yes, we're having a conversation right now, but there's like 800 other things. Like, for example, right now, I'm managing the cameras, I'm managing like the chat, right? And so if he's on stage, he's reading a card, but he's performing. He's probably got somebody in his ear. He's, you know, you're managing all the things that are around you, right? And so when you look down at a card, you know, you've got to read, like, it. You don't necessarily have.
Right.
Okay, with this title is this one, this is this, you know what I mean? It's very, it really needs to be super like
winner
clear.
Is.
Right?
Well, and that was the thing, is the way the card was set up is it had first runner up, a second runner up in the top left-hand corner. See if I can show you. So it was like here, and then it had first runner up here, and then it had winner here. But when you hold a cue card, usually...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, now it makes even more sense. Because when you hold the card, your thumb goes directly, and he's got big hands. Yeah. So his hand was totally... So as you said, you're live, you're not, you know, yes, you've got people in your ear, you're trying to keep it going and be... Because it's a tense moment, as you know. It's a tense moment when you're like, okay, and the winner is, and the event that first runner-up is not, or the winner is not able to, like, the whole thing that you've got to have your script, you're reading the teleprompter, like, it's, and he, in his defense, like, it was legit, you know, something that, I mean, obviously they changed it now, but yeah.
It was, and it sucks because it was his first time hosting Miss Universe, but it wasn't the last. But I mean, it was the first one, and it was probably the first pageant he ever hosted.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably even more why it happened. Because again, even just I'm thinking from public speaking, right? Like when you're reading a speech, for example, right? Like anybody who tells you about public speaking is like, you want to be trying to engage the audience as much as possible, and you're really only glancing down, right? You're glancing down, and then you're speaking here. You're glancing down, you know what I mean? And so he's probably coming from that training and that, like, this is, so you look down, there's the name, and now I'm going to say the name out here. You know, you don't, if you're looking down like this, you're on TV. It doesn't really look.
You're on Miss Universe stage.
So.
Exactly. So yeah, it was, and then the running joke. So the next pageant was Miss USA, and he didn't host it, but he had this whole thing. There was this montage. Whatever you do to the hosts, don't say Columbia. And then the problem was DC won. District of Columbia won.
Yep.
So like my husband just kept going. He's like, it's going to be District of Columbia. I'm like, it's not. And he's like, yeah, it's going to be District of Columbia. And I was like, okay. And it turned, I mean, I love Deshauna, so it actually, I was glad that it was. But it was like, I was like, that would just be way too like ironic. And then it was totally ironic. And they did not say, I don't know if they said District of Columbia out or if they just said DC, but I was like, and there we go.
I just said DC.
Just make it very poetic. Makes it more poetic. It's nice.
Oh my goodness.
Pageant history. So and then I started doing interviews in my closet in my apartment. Well, started off in my closet, and then we have a studio too. But I did a show every day for a year at 8:00.
You told me.
Wow.
Yeah, when I started Pageant Sit Down, you had mentioned that you used to do it every day, and then it kind of like trickled down to what it is now. But when you said that, I was like, oh, I can do every other day. And I'm like, oh, no. I could not do it.
No.
I don't know how you did it every day.
It takes a lot out of you. Like hosting, I mean, I know people are like, oh, you just sit and you talk. I'm like, no, like you said, Scott, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that people don't see. And you're like managing comments, and you're doing this and you're doing that, and you're trying. And when things lag, it's like, how do I keep engaged?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, and that's just the interview part, but it's just like, unless you've got an entire crew of people like managing the technical side, like you're never just talking, right?
Yeah.
There's always just a whole bunch of other things. So that's amazing. So then your show came out of sort of like, at that time, were you like, is it something in your mind that, oh, I kind of want to do this show, or was it very much like it sort of got thrust on you, and then you kind of realized, oh, actually, I can do this. Maybe I should. Like, did that kind of give you the idea, or did you already have the idea? Oh.
Can you hear us?
What happened?
Oh, no.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait, hang on. I think I can... Hang on. Uh-oh. What happened there? Can you hear us?
We were just talking about a lag. She cannot hear us.
Okay, wait. No, I think not if you can hear us right now. I think she
can't hear us.
Okay, we'll get her back. We're gonna get her back, everybody.
All right, there
Live.
we go.
Oh, there we go.
Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
We were just talking about lags and how sometimes it just doesn't
that
work
happens.
out.
Yeah. Anyway, did you hear my so what I was asking was, did you have the idea beforehand, or did this kind of inspire you? Like, how did it actually go?
Really, it was not something I ever really intended on doing, but it really, I really wanted to show that there is a positive side to pageantry. Pageantry has a lot of negative connotations around the world because people think that it's really unintelligent women just showing off their bodies in some places, and I really, especially because of that incident, I was like, there's so much negativity about this moment, and we were coming off of, I mean, not that I want to say badly about Toddlers and Tiaras, but like that whole era of pageantry being not such a positive place. So that was the intent, was to try to show what amazing things title holders do. So hi everybody.
And there you go, and the rest is history. We're about the halfway point. Maybe...
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. We should probably do...
We're lagging.
Oh, is there a lag right now? Oh, okay. We'll figure that out. But let's do the ad break. We're going to do the ad break now, just to get us right at the halfway point. And then we'll see if there's any other issues we got to deal with. But ladies and gentlemen, today's episode of The Sit Down is brought to you by some very important people. They are, of course... They make the show possible. They are our advertisers, ladies and gentlemen. So let's find out who they are. People, the Toronto real estate market is growing and changing every day. In these challenging times, you need someone in your corner. Jeanette McKenzie, Realtor at Forest Hill Signature, is committed to looking out for you. She'll go the extra mile to ensure you have all the information you need to make a decision you can feel confident about. Purchasing a home is one of the biggest financial investments you'll make in life. Don't leave it to chance. Call Jeanette McKenzie at Forest Hill Signature. She's my realtor, and she could be yours. Call today at 416-523-0408 or email at jmckenziehomes@gmail.com. Jewelry forever. Conveniently located at CF Markville Shopping Center on 5000 Highway 7 East Markham. They do custom-made jewelry, repairs, and change watch batteries, all done on site. And we have an amazing deal worked out with them, don't we, Regine?
Yes, we do. If you go in and let them know that Scott and Regine sent you, you'll get 15% off your entire purchase.
That's right. 15%. 15% off. Jerry at Jewelry Forever is an absolute artist. If you have a vision for something beautiful that you'd like made, he's the man to make it for you. And also, you can follow them on TikTok and Instagram. He posts a lot of videos about sort of the behind the scenes of making jewelry, repairing jewelry. There's videos where he brings back something that, like, he repaired a ring that got, like, crushed by a car. It looked gone, and he brought it back to something incredible. He's a pro. So follow them, get a great deal, and find out more at jewelryforever.ca. And if you would like to advertise on the show, it's very easy, right, Regine?
It's simple. All you guys have to do is email us at radioshowad, that's radioshowad@gmail.com.
That's right. We do this show live every week, people. And we do the ads live every week. What does that mean? Well, it means that you can personalize them week to week. Do you have an event, a sale, something happening at a particular time in a particular place? You let us know. We let your potential client base know in real time. It's a great way to build a brand new relationship with a brand new audience. So get in touch, radioshowad@gmail.com. And we are back, everybody. So were we having lag? Stacey, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we hear you. Great. Everything is good. So if you're just tuning in, people, we are here with Stayc Simpson, pageant queen, pageant interviewer, CEO. Also, tell us about, I know you said it's not related, but tell us about the gymnastics side of your endeavors.
Sure. So Gymagination is my gymnastics company. The name was thought up of by a 3-year-old that walked into one of my classes when I was teaching for somebody else and said, "Hey, Miss Stacey, are we going to use our Gymagination today?" And I went, "As soon as I write that down, that is a great thing." Okay. So,
Nice.
And
Nice.
actually, I was a gymnast and then started teaching. I started coaching at 16. So I have been in gymnastics for almost 55 years, or 45 years. Sorry. Wait, I'm 56. Hold on. Okay. 45 years. So I didn't necessarily expect to be doing this the rest of my life, but the more that I started teaching, and I don't call it coaching, I call it teaching. The more I started teaching, the more I realized how much I loved being around kids and being a great influence to them. And I started to progress in the sport. Bought my first gym at 30, right before I was diagnosed with my cancer, and then realized that kind of is what kept me alive. Like, it really was the thing I look forward to, is being around these little kids. My specialty, my education is in education, and then I'm also a therapist for kids with autism, and my specialty is kids under the age of 6. So that was really. Kids are honest and brutally honest sometimes. Like, sometimes they say things that I'm just like, oh yeah. Like, one of my 6-year-olds walked up to me. She goes, "Miss Stacey, I have a new word for you." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, what is that?" She goes, "Sassitude." And I'm like, "Really? What is sassitude?" She goes, "It's sassy with attitude." And I was like, "Where do you like?" I mean, so anyways. That is, and I I started Gymagination in 2003 after I'd been working with the United States Olympic team program for a couple of years, and realized that it just wasn't the right fit for me. I wanted kids to have fun and enjoy movement and really look forward to gymnastics, and it not be a really focused thing. So our program is non-competitive. Now we have ninja zones. So we have ninja program like American Ninja Warrior or Ninja Warrior. Yeah. We started off for boys, but the girls were like, nope, bring it. I went, okay. So, and we actually, our program is actually spotted for kids to be able to participate in the ninja program, which I think is really cool for TV. And then we also have Zumbini, which is Zumba for kids. And we just started yoga classes for kids. So I am certified in a lot of stuff that I probably had no idea I was ever going to do. But our program, during the pandemic, we thought that was going to be it. This is it. We're done. There's no way that we're going to survive this. And our numbers, we had a 300% growth in 2020, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And we have fun. I mean, honestly, my husband joined me in the program 4 years ago. He decided he didn't want to be a chef anymore and wanted to come play with kids. And I was like, you don't have any kids, and I don't think you know anything about teaching, but okay. And he did, and it was the best decision we ever made. Like, we love what we do. The kids love him. And we have one little girl that when I come into class, she's like, no, you go home.
Oh.
I'm like, why? And she goes, he's mine. I'm like, you're 3. What do you know about him being yours? Like, what?
That's so funny and cute.
But again, kids are honest. So
Yep.
They make you laugh.
Yeah. So how did you? So you said it grew through the pandemic. So were you guys able to? How did you have to adjust to that through that time? What did you have to do?
What we the location that we were at was in a city park previous to the pandemic shutdown. So the park closed, and they said, we're not reopening the park. So we had to kind of figure out what we were going to do. And one of our parents said to us, we have this, I mean, when I say prime real estate, like it was a prime, for your viewers that are able to talk to your realtor and get you a prime real estate location, this is the place. So there you go. And in Miami, we were actually, where most of the United States was still closed for quite a while. We shut down in March of 2020, but then everything opened back up the end of May of 2020. And so we opened up June 15th of 2020 and opened to a plethora of parents just going, the last 2 months have been horrible. Please take my child.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're at home, they're bouncing. I mean, we did gymnastics like on from our living room, and we lived in a 600 square foot apartment, and every day we did, Zoom, like, because I already had the technology from PageantryNOW, so we just turned it around and started doing it with Gymagination, but like we could see the kids, the looks on their faces was just like, this is not working for us.
Yeah.
So, and the rest is history. We went from 4 days a week to 7 days a week to it seems like endlessly there's classes going on, but we now have a great staff, and like, it's just been crazy. So
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you do when you were growing up? Were you a gymnast? Were you into gymnastics then?
I started in gymnastics.
Sorry, I had to look at the chat.
It's okay.
So
Yeah,
sorry.
I started in gymnastics when I was 10. I started competing in high school, and then I got injured at 18, and that was it. So, at 18 is actually really, really old for someone to be competing anyway. So, for women, the sport is really set up so that you really, after 16 or 17. It's a lot harder. So, and I was like, okay, I'll coach.
Cool.
So.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty. I mean, the thing is, a lot of people, like, coaching is not the same as competing, and I think a lot of people, who, even if they're very good at the sport, it's something else to actually be able to teach it to somebody else. So it sounds like you, you have that skill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, I loved kids. I just didn't realize that I could be a teacher. And I mean, I guess if I go back to when I was a kid, my grandmother had these old schoolhouse chairs that and she had a blackboard in her basement. And so I would set all my younger cousins down. I'm like, we're doing school. And they're like, why are we doing school?
That is so sweet. So fast forward to now, you are Ms. Achievement World 2021. How did that happen during a pandemic?
Well, that is a really great question. And pageantry really took a change with the pandemic. So our pageant, my director, Diana Lawrence, I had interviewed her because she was actually one of my idols. I had seen her win the title of Mrs. Galaxy a couple of days ago, and and had followed her journey. She had actually had this title previous as well. And it was 20 years ago. I was on my first national pageant and I fell on stage, and she was emceeing and just kept going like it was flawless. And I just went, I want to be here when I grow up. So when I finally had a chance to interview her, we've been friends for years. I said, wow, I really wish that Achievement was still around because I would love to do it. She is the director and owner of Dr. World Productions and runs Dr. World. And she said, actually, Achievement's back. And I went, what? Wait, how? This is the title I've always wanted. Are you serious? And she said, yeah. And I said, I would love to apply. And that was in March of 2021. And I was lucky enough to get the USA title and represent the United States at the international pageant that was done online. So the entire pageant was done virtually. We have several areas of competition, but one of them is field presentation, which is a 5-minute video where, you talk about what you do and why you do it, which you don't really get that opportunity to talk to a judge beforehand and have them know really anything about you before you meet them. And then evening gown was submitted virtually. So we had 30 seconds for evening gown to be able to show off our evening wear, our best selves, photogenic. And all of that was submitted to the judges at the beginning of July. And then our pageant was on July 17th. And in the morning, we had virtual interviews similar to this with all of the judges. And then live, similar to this, we had everybody at 6:00 that tuned in and the crowning was announced. And I cried a lot. Everyone thought I was upset. And I was like, this really was a title that I had dreamed about. I just think that Achievement World it is a magical system. It is actually where Galaxy started because previous to Galaxy being a live pageant, it was this. So when it became a live pageant, I always said, I guess I'm going to have to be a Galaxy girl to ever be able to be part of that legacy. And then to win this title was like, I'm going to cry. So.
Well, for those who are interested in learning more about Dr. World and Ms. Achievement World, I did interview Diana. So you can check it out on my YouTube channel. Diana, sorry.
Link in the description.
There you go.
How did you enjoy doing an online pageant as opposed to the in-person variety?
Well, I actually had done several online pageants previously, but not with this capability. So I had done online pageants that were send in a huge notebook with all of the things that you've done, and and then it's judged by a picture and there's no interview. This was really actually lovely because we actually got to have all of the phases of competition, which I think lent it to being much more like a live pageant. I will tell you that the live announcement was as anxious as if I had been in a live pageant. My heart rate was through the roof, and I was like, oh my gosh, what? The only good part about it is my husband got to hold my hand, because normally I would be on stage going, oh, that stress. But my husband was like, will you just calm down? So
he's like, your heart, calm down.
Well, that was it. At one point, I think my defibrillator is gonna go off if I don't calm down.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it was. There are aspects to both, I think, that are great, and they make them special. I just this felt as real as if I were on stage, and the great thing about it was my husband got to crown me, which I think that just made it that much more special. Because I had left pageantry when I met my husband. Before I met my husband, I had taken a break, and I was like, okay, I kind of done whatever I need to do. And one day he was like, when I was in the midst of the cardiac stuff, he's like, hey, why don't you do a pageant? And I went, do you know what you're asking? Do you have any idea what you are opening yourself up to? And he goes, well, you talk about all these great things and the places you travel to and being on an airplane. He goes, well, why don't we just try it? And here we are. And now he's like, the first time we went to Vegas, he was like, wow. He likes to play video games. So he's like, oh my gosh, look, that's in GTA. Blah, blah, blah. This is blah, blah, blah. This, like, I'm like, yes, sweetheart. I was in New York. I was featured on a billboard in New York in Times Square in February as part of New York Fashion Week, which is crazy. I'm 55 years old, and there's this picture of me in the middle of Times Square. I'm like, this is nuts. And my husband is doing the same thing. Okay, this movie was done here, and this and this and this. And this.
You're like, but look at me.
Dude,
I'm up
be
there.
in the moment. He's like, I don't care. He goes, I see you all the time.
Oh my God.
It wasn't like that. I mean, he really was in the moment, but it's been cool. I mean, honestly, I think that pageantry has been so remarkable, and even despite the pandemic, we've had to come up with really creative ways to touch people's lives in general. Like this whole virtual thing has changed everything for all of us, and now we have opportunities to reach places and talk to people and share things that we never would have had an opportunity, I think, to be able to do. I'm just jealous that like everybody's like got on the bandwagon and they're doing their own thing too.
Yeah, I think a lot of podcasts were born through the pandemic, at least, that's for sure.
But can I just say, I was inspired by your pageant. I'm not trying, your podcast. I'm not trying to compete with.
No.
I'm just saying, putting it out there.
Okay, and let me clarify that. I think that I love that people pick up and they do it their own thing, because everybody's got their own way of doing it, and everybody's got their own style to all of this, but the space is big enough for us to be able to do it. So it isn't just pageantry. It is anything like podcasting and vlogging, all the things that we do. We have the technology. Why not use it and let everybody's voice be heard? Because the way you ask questions and the way I ask questions are very, very different. And honestly, it allows more people to have, whatever their interests are, be at the forefront for whomever it is that their audience is. Like, I mean, it really is really cool. People choose what works best for them. And I was laughing. I didn't mean it that way. Like, I find it flattering that people want to do it. But I also think that, no one designer works for everybody. So you've got to find what's the right fit for you.
Yep. I think it's just cool. And it is a cool time to be doing media. And like we said, it's not how, if everything was just on regular TV, for example, or the radio, there's sort of this limited number of places, so only a few people can be on there. But like now, we can all have a show. And I don't know. I still think it's cool that like we're sitting here talking to you, and you're in Florida and we're in Toronto, and we're just chatting. It's cool.
I think it's remarkable. And honestly, that was in the space of YouNow. This was before there was Facebook Live. This was before there was YouTube Live. Any of the lives, the only thing that was live at that point other than YouNow was Periscope. And Periscope didn't have the depth as YouNow did. YouNow, you could have multiple people on. And, it sometimes 2,000-3,000 people were sitting watching. And I interviewed Katrina Gray. It was the very first live that I did on Facebook Live. And 50,000 people popped in, and I went, whoa. Wow. Whoa, like it's not crashing. I'm in my closet in my house doing this. And I'm going, and even the Miss Universe staff didn't know how to do it. Like, this was all new technology. So to now see where it's come, and to have the opportunity, like anywhere we go, we can log on and go, hey, check me out. This is what I'm doing. You want to join me? Okay, click, you're on. Let's do it. You want to go to the beach? I'll take you to the beach, no problem. Like, I think the technology and the opportunities to be able to share information. I mean, I know everybody. I watched a commercial that was about teach me on TikTok or learning on TikTok or something like that, and I was like, wow, I guess I have to join TikTok now.
Yeah, TikTok's the latest one. TikTok is I guess it's always changing. They're always coming out with new ones.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to hear you say how when talking about virtual pageant versus in person, because like my experience doing concerts. So I'm a musician as well. I perform, and I didn't say compete. I performed in a few virtual concerts, but for me, they never felt like concerts because I guess maybe the problem with it was that it wasn't really live. Even the live concerts, all the performances themselves were pre-recorded videos, so I would submit my performance, other artists would submit theirs. And so the concert would happen, but it didn't feel any different than, say, like making a YouTube video. But I'm thinking it's probably different if you're actually competing or like in a pageant, because even though, yeah, you're submitting things, that there's still that moment of that excitement of
who's gonna win?
Yeah, what's gonna actually happen, right? And you probably the pressure is still there in the same way. So that's cool.
I think with virtual pageants, it's different because everyone's submitting their best work.
Right, because that's the other thing too, is like with a live pageant, you don't get a do-over. Like it is, like I'll be honest, like my evening gown, it took us 4 hours because I picked the right background. I wanted everyone to see what Florida looked like. The sun was setting. You could see the backdrop of Miami, and then it started to pour rain.
Oh.
And so then by the time we actually got it, it was like 9:00 at night, and my hair was not what it looked like when I went in. And I finally just, like, the last take, I was like, I don't care. If that's not right, it's not right. I'm done. Whereas when you're on stage, you've got that 30 seconds that you're on stage for the judges to be able to see you and make it right. With my field presentation was one cut. I sat down, I talked about about my job, why I love my job, why I chose it. And I did a little bit of editing, but it ended up, after I edited out things that were too much, it was exactly 5 minutes. And I went, okay, that was easy. But you don't get that chance with a live pageant. You don't have an opportunity to go in and edit what you say. And
one and done.
Yeah. I mean, the interview portion was live, and we had 7 minutes with the judges. But even that was just, it was so fast. I know that afterwards the judges are like, can we do like a 10-minute interview? Because
try 3-minute interview.
Well, I know. And that's, I mean, for you, I have judged Galaxy. I'm always like, how do I get to know them in 3 minutes?
Yep.
But, and I mean, you don't know, maybe you're off. And they say with every pageant, the same judges, the same contestants, there's a new winner the next day. As it really changes people's personalities. Like there is the one part about pageantry that it's never going to be perfect, and you're never going to have the same opportunity for it to be the same winner again. So
very true. I mean, I came from first runner up to winner, so I totally get what you mean.
It's true, but like I mean, so
different day, different outcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question to you, Stacey, is: do you like frogs?
I do like frogs. I love it. I love frogs. I've loved them since I was a kid. I loved picking them out of a pond. We had a pond near our house, and I would get them when they were pollywogs. Anybody that lives up north, they know what that is. Tadpoles.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Oh, okay.
I'm from Detroit originally, so every now and then my accent will come out. It's when I'm around people that. Yeah.
So people in Detroit call tadpoles pollywogs?
Yeah, depending. Yeah.
Oh.
Tadpoles.
I've never heard that word before.
So when I asked you if you like frogs, all I hear is Scott going, "What?"
I was like, that's a weirdly specific question, Regine. You've never asked anybody that before, but I guess you guys must.
Stacey asks
everyone.
I
asked that question. Yes.
Okay,
So I love frogs. I love watching the metamorphosis. I love seeing what they do. Now, to answer Scott's question, why did she ask that question? That is the first question I ask on Pageantry Now. And the reason I ask it is when Pageantry Now started, we did a lot of interview prep, and that became a silly question that I would ask over and over and over in interview prep, because it got people to talk about themselves and real, true things about you. As soon as you talk about, especially with women, there is a very definite reaction. They either love frogs or they don't love frogs. And it is very visceral. And so the very first time that I interviewed Pia Warsbach, I asked Pia, Miss Universe 2015, I said, do you like frogs? Why or why not? And she went, oh, no. And when I was growing up in the Philippines, you take your shoes off at the front door. And then and I got up in the morning and a frog had jumped into my shoes and I put my foot in my shoes. But yeah. But the reaction that I got from her was Pia. I did not get Queen Pia. And from that moment on, I was like, I want to know whether people like frogs, why or not.
I love that.
Do you like frogs, Scott?
I do. I mean, I like. Well, I don't really have many experiences with frogs. There aren't a lot of frogs around.
I like Kermit
here.
the Frog. I like Kuroki the Frog.
That's what I mean. So all of my frog experiences are, either through characters or movies, and so they're all. Or I was like, we went camping and there was one, you know what I mean? Like, so I've never encountered a frog, where I didn't want to encounter a frog.
In the wild?
That way. Yeah. Or if I encountered it in the wild, I was out in the wild looking for interesting things. You know what I mean?
He was looking for frogs.
It's not like like you said, I took off my shoe and I went to put it on and there it was.
But the worst part is she felt it with the bottom of her
right. Feet. I was like, I mean, and the look on her face, if you go back and you watch that interview, like she really just went like, and I went, oh, she's still living that moment, man.
Yeah, you brought it back. No, but I love that. That's genius because we've said it many times on this show. It's like the best moments, the best interviews, and we usually get there by at some point, but it's like once you get to the point where you're kind of just chatting, right? And I find with this interview that we're doing now, we got there pretty quick, but I think it's because we both, well, not just that, but I think we both interview people. And so I think we're both comfortable getting there. But your average person or someone who's not interviewed as often, sort of, they do have this kind of, okay, I'm in an interview now.
Like a job
interview. There's a wall.
Thing.
Yeah.
There's a wall.
And it's always tough, like depending on the person, like, how do you get them talking about and sometimes it's something as simple as
do you like frogs?
That's the thing. I mean, I love that because sometimes it'll be, we might happen to mention a movie that we happen to have both seen last week, and suddenly they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I did see that movie, and
exactly
right. But I love that the frog thing is.
You can seal it.
Written by Pageantry Now.
No, honestly, it's an icebreaker question, and at the end of the day, there is my therapist brain. In therapy, there is a 25-minute mark where people start to let that wall come down and they start to truly share about themselves. And so you probably can go back and watch your episodes and go right about 20-25 minutes. All of a sudden they'll get to that place where it's okay, these people are cool and they're safe, and let me start talking.
I need to go through mine and see when mine
see when that happens. But you can watch it. You see it happen. There's this magical, and I'm always really sad when I do 30 minutes because I'll get to that magic place and we've bonded and they're like, okay, thanks, I have to go now. I'm like, come on.
And then there's me. I'm like, yeah, we can keep going.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I in fact. Interesting. I've never heard that specifically like 25, 30 minutes, but I think I'm sure we've experienced that. I'd be curious how close to that time a lot of our shows are. Because again, it depends on the person. Like if we're bringing on somebody, usually if we bring on like an actor or like somebody who's just kind of used to talking a lot or performing, it can happen pretty quick because they know what it is already. You know what I mean? And they're used to kind of being in front of the camera. But a lot of times, like musicians, for example, performing on stage is one thing, but it's something else when you're not singing, when you're actually just, okay, we want to talk to you now, right? It takes a little bit longer. And then
wanted to talk to you, not your lyrics.
Yeah. And so
people get like nervous about like feeling like they're representing themselves or self-promotion because I mean, and honestly, it's uncomfortable to get to that place where you can go, hey, this is who I am, blah blah blah.
Yep.
And no matter how much media training you have, I think that it takes time to really establish. Maybe it's not the most personal. You're having to look at a camera and have emotions with the camera when our natural instinct is to look at you and go, hi guys, how you doing? What you doing?
That's interesting you say that, because at work, because I work hybrid, so I work from home most of the time. Every time I speak to someone new, they're like, you have really good eye contact on the camera. Well, that's what I do on a weekly basis. I don't look at, like you were saying, Stacey,
right,
the camera or the screen. I actually look at the
you're
camera.
doing it right now.
I do it all the time.
I
You
barely
always
look
look
at the
here.
camera. Well, I'm monitoring the things.
because
but
he's
I'm trying
being the
to,
adult, like the tech, like that. There was a point when we had my husband, and he would run the behind. He'd be the producer, and so we would have two screens going, and he would run it, but he was in a separate room, because it got to a point where I was like, can I just be a host for a little while? But now it's easy. I'm back to doing it by myself. He's like, do I need to just sit here and listen to this all the time? I'm like, sure.
But it's true, because I didn't realize it until I started the Pageant Sit Down, because I'm usually like I am now, just chilling, and Scott's like,
how did you guys get started doing this?
So we were reached out to by Jennifer C., who's a co-founder of Canada's Top Choice, which
Pageant.
is Pageant, which
cool.
is where
Okay.
So the first year the pageant happened, we both emceed together, and then the following year I competed.
So she reached out to us because we were both, I think we MC together before. We had, so she had seen us MC together at that somewhere, and we were both kind of involved in various community events, largely in the Filipino community, I guess. And so when she was starting her pageant, she asked us to MC it, and then a little while later she wanted to put a show together.
The podcast started at your house first, and then she brought it to the
That's
studio.
right. She wanted to do a Canada's Top Choice podcast that she kind of got me to put together, and then she purchased airtime, I guess, at a different studio, and she brought us on to be the hosts, and then that kind of ended. I think she was kind of done with that part of it, and then we were like,
we weren't done with it.
We were like,
you weren't done with it. You're like, no,
we're like, we just started.
Yeah. So then it kind of became our own thing, and now I moved it onto my YouTube channel, and
here we are,
Here we are.
185 episodes later.
Crazy. It's crazy. Congrats though, because I'm honestly, I know how hard it is. I was talking to Adrian Kwan from the Pageant Project, and he said, how many interviews have you done? I'm like, probably a couple thousand. He said, that's crazy. I'm like, well, think about it. Miss Universe, if you get to go to Media Day, 50 in an hour. I mean, they're not interviews like this. They're like 3 or 4 minute interviews. But I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't have them numbered. I guess I should.
You should.
Actually, I wouldn't mind asking you quickly about that, just because, my only experience really with interviewing people has kind of been this, and I enjoy kind of the semi-long form, like we can just sort of get into it and talk, and like that's because podcasts I like to listen to can be 3-4 hours long sometimes, right? Where I just have it on all day long. But getting an interview done in like 3-4 minutes, that's got to be you got to be very
Boom, 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 boom.
very concise. What kind of strategy do you employ when you have to do get something out of somebody in such a short amount of time?
I try to make sure that I have a bio, or some kind of idea who I'm speaking with. At Miss Universe, it was really hard because you kind of have to go with how you feel that person is right away. And honestly, the Miss Universe organization, it said, we're going to bring you the people that are maybe don't have as much media experience. I'm like, is that good or bad?
That can make or break them.
I'm like, okay. So I found that there were like a lot of interviews. I'm very personal, so I always make sure that I put a hand on them and let them know, hey, I'm okay, I'm safe. And then I usually try to ask them something, tell me about where you live, or what do you want the judges to know about you, or try to keep the questions as open-ended as possible, but something so that it gives them an opportunity to really talk about why they're there. because interviewing live, like in person, is a lot different too. That was the thing that when I did the red carpet at Miss Universe, like I had never done anything like that, so I didn't know. And it kind of like it was kind of crazy how it just felt natural, because I didn't do across they have a velvet rope and you kind of put the microphone normally across and you interview and go back and forth. I turned myself around and put my arm around the people that I was interviewing, so both of us were in center on camera, and then interviewed them like that. And I thought, wow, that is so. I mean, I'm standing next to Entertainment Tonight going, why are they not doing it like that?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you have an instinct that I think it's like sort of a natural, even if you weren't planning to do it, it sounds like you're kind of, I don't know, built for it, I think.
It's odd. And it wasn't, I mean, again, like, I think that with my autism, like it kind of makes it so that I'm not afraid to get into people's personal space, because I don't have the same kind of boundaries that most people do. So I'm just like, hey, okay. I mean, I wrapped my arm around Emmett Smith, like, and Emmett Smith, I used to live in Dallas, so he was one of the Cowboys football. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's number 22, Emmett Smith, the amazing winner of Dancing with the Stars. And he went, wait, you know who I am? And I went, yes, I do.
Cool.
Why wouldn't I? I mean,
yeah, that's so yeah. So preparation is pretty key to know something about them, because you kind of, I guess you can't spend too much time getting to know them, right?
No.
You
get
get
there
a
quick.
question, so it's like how to find a way to be able to make it their moment. So whatever their frog is, whatever it is that you can bring it out and bring out their best self. Maybe you get two questions. I interviewed Charlie Puth, and Charlie Puth had just been discovered by Ellen DeGeneres.
Wow.
And I was like, so how does it feel being on stage with, a bunch of women in their bikinis? He goes, this is my best moment ever.
I like that. What is their frog? What is their frog? I like that.
Everybody has their something that's going to make them come out. So if you have enough information about them, then you can kind of like get them to elicit that emotion, and it's visceral. So when someone is talking about something that's very emotional to them, you'll get them to come out right away.
So when in doubt, Scott, do you like frogs?
Do you like frogs? Why or why
not? I can actually see myself.
He's gonna
doing
use that.
He's processing. I can see it, because like he's going.
Yes.
He's thinking, and he uses his thinking eyes. So he's like going, so what can we ask that would be like?
He's gonna like this notebook is gonna be filled with questions.
I'm genuinely feeling inspired. I know it's pretty great.
Is your notebook written backwards?
No, the notebook is like this was the notebook that I've been using for a really long time, and then I kind of got all the way to the end. But then before throwing it out, I realized like there's probably a lot of blank space that I can probably use.
Really random. I'm like, what's up with your notebook?
Hey, how many people have notebooks that they can take notes in? There you go. What do you put in your notebook if you were able to take notes?
Ooh.
Like, what do I put in? Usually it's stuff that in fact, sometimes I guess related to the frog thing, this is sometimes where I'd write stuff down like, oh, I want to ask this, or like
Just catch-all.
Yeah, I also find like there are some episodes where I'm like, I really know I want to talk about this episode.
But we never do.
And we'll have like a list. I'll have a list of like 8 things, and the episode will end. We'll be like, oh, we talked about none of them. Oops. But actually, though, when that happens, that's oftentimes it was a good episode, because it means that we were just so busy talking about something else that we didn't need to go to that
get to the
list.
notebook where it's just like.
Yeah, I guess that's
no, that's like me. I play like little games at the end, and then I got to the point where I was like, well, the games are fun because like we do like this or that or things like that, so that you can kind of see more of the personality. But honestly, when we get to that point, it's like is it necessary? Hopefully I've gotten to that sweet place before we get to that. Maybe I should do the games first. I don't know.
Maybe. I guess it depends on the guest, really.
Yeah. You kind of gauge it based on what their personality is like. This was a fantastic chat. I enjoyed it very much.
You had fun?
I did.
Did you have fun?
I guess I did. I like at the beginning, like I said, I was like, I'm talking a lot. So is it dragging? But I think I wanted to know more about you guys. So I should have you guys both come on Pageantry Now, and then I get to interview you.
Well, I mean, Scott's done a pageant.
I competed
before.
once, yeah.
His interview is also on the Pageant Sit Down.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, we'd love to come on. Absolutely. Let's make it happen.
Cool.
Let's go right there, right now, after this. I'm just
kidding. I can't.
I'm kidding. I'm totally
No,
kidding.
I know. It's Father's Day, and so we have family stuff. I was like, when I scheduled it, I was like, oh, wait, it's Father's Day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, makes sense, yeah. Okay, well, before we wrap up, then, why don't you, where can people find you, Stacey? Where, social media, anywhere, anything you'd like people to type in their searches?
I don't have social media. I don't know why anybody would. Oh, sorry. I'm kidding. Actually, everything is at Ms. Achievement World. So Ms. Achievement World at Instagram or on Facebook. Those are the easiest places to find me. I do check them often. Or you can go to Pageantry Now. Pageantry Now is on Instagram, Facebook, and then also on YouTube. And if you want to be a guest or if you want to just, ask me questions about pageants, you're welcome to, and I'll try to answer them if I can. But I really want to thank both of you for this opportunity. I was really excited to be able to come on. Again, it's kind of like probably going to be one of my last interviews. So it's nice to have a whole year to have been able to do this. And, it's been wonderful. I've met so many amazing people, and, I think this is a really cool format for people to be able to get to know other people. So thank you for doing it.
Thank you for coming on. And like I said, I really did find it inspiring. Mm-hmm. I just one, I thought your story was really interesting and all the things you went through, but even just the interview stuff and the way you approach, I feel like it's actually, it's benefited me in a way. Mm-hmm. Yes. But Regine, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on my YouTube channel. I have put a pause to the pageant sit down for now. But if you'd like to watch Scott or Stacey's interview, they're there where you can tune in and learn more about them if you haven't learned enough about Stacey today. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at It's Regine Alaina, like you see here. And you can also follow my journey to Galaxy Internationals, as it is just around the corner, at Mrs. Galaxy Southern Canada 2022 on Instagram and Facebook. And note, I will be off air for the next couple of weeks on here.
Oh, yes.
She's kind of getting married.
She's getting married. Yeah. Where can people find you, Scott?
You can find me right here where you're watching this very video, youtube.com/Scott Dion Brown. It's the best place to find me. I post not just the sit down, but I've got music, we got vlogs, we got comedy sketches, we got lots of live streaming and gaming going on. Yes. I'm playing Elden Ring right now. Yeah, it's good stuff. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter right here. At Scott Dion Brown. But all of those other social media sites are just satellites for the YouTube channel. So youtube.com/Scott Dion Brown is the best one. But
and make sure you follow our sit down everywhere. Oh, yeah. We're on TikTok, guys.
I should add that, right? So right here we've got the Sit Down Radio Show on Instagram, Sit Down Scott on Twitter, and yes, what are we on Instagram? Or on TikTok?
Sit Down with SDB, I think, is what it's called.
Let
me check.
We'll add that. In fact, I don't even know if I have that in the description. We got to get caught up here. Okay, but
it's because I run all the social media and Scott has no idea what we're doing.
Correct.
So
Correct.
It is the Sit Down with SDB.
There you go. Follow us there. We're starting to post there quite a bit, actually. Well, she is starting to post on. It's we. There's no I in team, Regine.
Yes, there is, if you write it correctly.
There you go.
In the A.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, thank you, Stacey, for joining us today. It's been, like I said, a pleasure getting to know you more throughout this journey. And I know the last time we spoke, you were only a Ms. Achievement USA. So to finally have you and talk to you as Ms. Achievement World, it's sad. It's bittersweet that your reign is coming to an end, but you've done so much virtually as well. So congrats.
It's been awesome. So thank you so much. It's bittersweet. I mean, I know when you gave up your crown, but you got your new crown for Canada. We were all crying, so I know you. I know you know the feeling. So.
I don't know if you watch a live stream. I was a hot mess, and I don't cry. So for me to just be like, "Here we go," it was a lot.
Diane and I were both hysterical. We were watching it together. She's like, "Are you gonna be okay?" I'm like, "No." So
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's the hardest part of every pageant for me is when a queen gives up their title, because you know that there's a lot that went into that year, and it's magic. So you've got new things, new crown, new stuff to do, new husband. Oh my gosh.
I know, it's a lot. Cindy actually made fun of me. She goes, "You didn't cry when you won, but you cried when your reign ended." I'm like, yeah, I did.
I am really afraid because I cried hysterically when I won.
Girl, get your heart going first, okay?
Yeah. So I've already started to work on my final walk, and I'm like, nope, it's not. Nope.
No.
So.
Well, stay tuned, everyone. Stacey's got a lot going on, a lot more achievements coming up after this reign. So make sure you follow her on social media and on Pageantry Now.
Links are all in the description down below, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Stacey, once again, thanks so much. And hit the like button, people, if you enjoyed the video. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you for listening.
Follow us.
Follow us there, too. Mm-hmm. And everybody, have a great rest of your day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
I'll see you guys soon.
We'll see you all. Yes. Bye, guys. Bye.